In our last chapter, we delved into the forbidden arts of the infernal pact, learning how a mortal might dare to summon a being from beyond the veil. We spoke of the sigils, the incantations, and the terrible price one must be willing to pay. Tonight, we witness the consequence of that pact. The first seal has been broken, and from the swirling abyss, a king rises. This is the story of Bael, the first and principal king of hell. The air in the summoning chamber grew thick, so heavy it felt like breathing in dust and ancient regrets. The circle, painstakingly drawn with salt and silver, began to glow with a sickly, pale light. A low growl, like the scraping of stone on stone, echoed from the center of the room. It wasn't a sound you heard with your ears, but one that vibrated deep in your bones, a primal hum of dread. From the heart of the light, a figure began to form. But it wasn't one figure, it was three, impossibly woven together. There was the head of a man, regal and severe, with eyes that held the cold, empty expanse of a starless night. Then, the head of a cat, sleek and black, its whiskers twitching as it tasted the fear in the air. And finally, the head of a toad, its skin glistening and its throat pulsing with a silent, guttural croak. These three heads sat upon a grotesque body of writhing spider legs, clicking and skittering against the unseen floor of their dimension. This was Bael, the Eastern King, commander of 66 legions of infernal spirits. The summoner, a man who had traded wisdom for power, stood frozen just outside the circle. He had read the ancient texts, studied the grimoires, but nothing could have prepared him for this violation of nature. He tried to stand tall, to project the authority of the one who had called, but his knees had other ideas. With a shuddering gasp, he found himself collapsing, forced into an unwilling posture of worship. He was not commanding, he was begging. Bael's three voices spoke as one, a discordant chorus that was both a whisper and a roar. You have called, mortal. You have broken the first seal. What is it you seek from the Lord of Shadows? The voice was a tapestry woven from a king's command, a predator's purr, and a swamp's gurgle. The summoner, his own voice trembling, managed to speak his desire. I seek the power to walk unseen, to move through the world as a ghost, to be invisible to my enemies. Bael's manhead offered a cold, cruel smile. Invisibility, a coward's cloak, a thief's advantage, a simple thing for one such as I. The toadhead let out a low, rumbling laugh that sounded like bubbles rising through mud. The cathead simply stared, its emerald eyes unblinking, calculating. The gift is yours, the three voices chimed. But all gifts have a price. We do not deal in gold or souls, little summoner. We deal in what truly matters. A throne began to materialize behind the demonic king, a construct that seemed to defy physics. It wasn't made of wood or metal, but of coalesced whispers and solidified fear. The terrified gasps of 1,000 forgotten victims formed its legs. The desperate pleas of the lost created its seat, and the silent screams of the damned spiraled up to form its high, imposing back. Bael settled onto this throne of despair, his spider legs finding purchase on its nightmarish architecture. The price, Bael continued, his voice now a soft, insidious whisper that bypassed the ears and went straight into the summoner's mind, is a memory. Not just any memory. Give me your happiest one, the moment of your purest joy, the peak from which all other moments of your life have been a slow, steady decline. Give it to me. The summoner recoiled, his happiest memory. It was the day his daughter was born. The warmth of her tiny body in his arms, her first cry, the overwhelming wave of love that had washed away all his fears and doubts. It was the one pure, untainted thing he possessed. To give that away, it was unthinkable. No, he whispered, anything but that. Bael's laughter echoed again, this time sharp and mocking. You bargained for power beyond your station. Mortal, the price is set. Do you accept, or shall my legions come forth to collect a different kind of toll? As he spoke, the shadows in the corners of the room deepened, stretching like grasping fingers. They were no longer just an absence of light. They pulsed with a life of their own, teeming with unseen things that waited just beyond the veil. Faced with a choice between losing his most precious memory and unleashing untold horrors upon his world, the summoner broke. Tears streamed down his face as he nodded his consent. Take it. A tendril of shadow detached itself from Bael's form, slithering across the floor and over the salt line of the circle. It was thin and sharp, like a surgeon's scalpel made of pure night. It touched the summoner's forehead, and he screamed, not a scream of pain, but of loss. He felt the memory being ripped from his mind, the colors fading, the sounds muting, the feeling of love curdling into a cold, empty ache. He could remember the fact of his daughter's birth, but the joy, the warmth, the meaning, it was gone. He was left hollow, a walking shell containing a void where his heart's greatest treasure used to be. As the shadow tendril retreated, Bael seemed to savor the stolen joy, his cat head purring with satisfaction. The exchange is complete, the Demon King declared. You are now a shadow among men. 3 more tendrils of darkness lashed out faster than sight. They struck the summoner's chest, carving 3 parallel scars deep into his flesh, a mark of their transaction, a brand of ownership. The wounds didn't bleed blood. They wept shadow. With the pact fulfilled, Bael's form began to dissolve. Know this, his voice boomed, a final pronouncement from the throne of fear. You are not the master of this power. You are merely its vessel. And the cost of the next gift will be far greater. The demonic entity faded back into the impossible geometry from which it came. But one thing remained, his laughter. It didn't fade. It hung in the air, a constant, chilling reminder of the hollow bargain he had made. The summoner clutched his chest, feeling the 3 weeping scars. He was alone again. But the room was not empty. The shadows, once confined to the corners, now moved with a new and terrifying freedom. They flowed across the floor, climbed the walls, and danced in the air, no longer bound by the laws of light. They were Bael's eyes, his spies, a permanent infestation in the summoner's reality. He closed his eyes, and when he opened them, he saw his own hands were translucent. The gift was real. He was invisible. But as he looked at his spectral form, a horrifying realization dawned upon him. The laughter was not just in the room. It was in his head, and deep within his soul. He felt a tremor, a hairline fracture in the metaphysical prison that held the 72. Bael, the first king, had not just claimed a memory. He had weakened the very fabric of the seals. The summoner knew, with a certainty that chilled him more than any demon, that the second seal was already beginning to crack. The rise of Bael is but the first note in a symphony of chaos. The price of invisibility was a happy memory, but what will be demanded by the next power to claw its way through the veil? Join us next time as we face the searing heat of the inferno and the chilling whispers of a two-faced liar. The second seal groans under the pressure, preparing to unleash Amon's fury and the rise of the twin-faced tempter. Thank you for watching, and if you dare, follow us deeper into the shadows.